Hi, my name is Juliana Fenek and I'm the founder of Lignan Stories, a storytelling agency set up to support parents of 5 to 10-year-old children in introducing storytelling in their daily lives. Why? Because storytelling brings us closer to our children. It enhances the communication systems in our family and the connection between all members. Stories allow us to look inside our children's mind, heart, and soul, enabling us to understand them better. As parents, we always have the best of intentions. We start every day meaning to spend quality time with our children, meaning to stay calm even in the face of triggering behavior, and we plan a schedule ahead of time, or we go with the flow depending where we're at. But behind each of those is the desire to go to bed knowing that we have done a good job taking care of our children. Today I want to share a tip or two, or perhaps some insight into my own way of doing this. So I've been thinking a lot about the ways, the systems that I use in my household in order to create structure, organization, and most importantly, to align my children's expectations to my own. You see, as a single mother, a full-time lecturer at university, and the founder of a business, I often get asked, how do you manage it all? And I think there are 4 elements that help me to manage all of these things that I am so passionate about. First of all, mindset. Even when it gets really tough, I remind myself that all of these things are a blessing, that I actively chose to have them in my life, and that even though today it seems impossible to get everything done, to see to all my responsibilities, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if some days are harder than others. This is part of life. So I always remind myself, yes, today was a difficult day, but tomorrow could be a little bit better. In life, there are the good days and the bad days, and I accept both equally. That mindset allows me to stay calm and not take panicked decisions which affect the long-term successes of each of the elements in my life. I have also learned, especially when it comes to my relationship with my children, to take active steps to align their expectations and their values to mine. I realized when they were little, and also as a researcher when I work with families of young children, that there is a lot of unspoken expectation. We expect our young children to understand why we want them to do certain things. We expect our young children to do certain things without us asking them. But we don't put the systems in place that make it easier for them to do their chores. We don't explain to them in calm ways using languages that they understand. And I say languages because we tend to express ourselves using words. And we tend to think about long-term consequences. You have to do your homework today, otherwise in 20 years' time, you won't have work that satisfies you. But a child does not live their life thinking, probably does not even understand what 20 years' time means. It's too far away. So we need to explain that consequence in a way that the child understands, in a way that is related to the present. Okay, so saying something like, for example, you need to do your homework because this will help your brain work more efficiently. And each week it can cope with more complex things. And isn't that amazing? We can train your brain to think like a scientific inventor. And so we give children associations and explanations that they can understand. So aligning expectations is the second strategy that I use. The third one is routine. Routine allows everybody to understand what they need to do, when, where, and how. And as Brené Brown has told us so many times, clarity is kind. Be clear. Create a system and then stick to it. And if you need to make changes to it, make sure that those changes are being discussed with your children. And last but not least, systems. So I've learned from many of my coaches and mentors that I need to introduce systems into my house. When I go to work, I work efficiently because I understand the system that I am supposed to follow. Why don't I do the same thing at home? Why don't I introduce systems that are positive, healthy, nurturing, clear, kind to my children, so that I am setting them up for success rather than threatening them with empty threats, trying to correct their behavior rather than creating circumstances that enable them. And so these four things, mindset, expectation, alignment of values and systems, are the four things that I use at home in order to keep and maintain a strong relationship with my children. And often I do these by telling them stories, especially with young children, about what would happen, what might happen if we don't use a particular mindset, if we don't maintain a particular routine. Because the stories help them, help me to bring consequence closer to the present moment rather than pitching it far, far off into the future. So think about these things. What mindset do you bring into your family? What expectations do you bring to your family? What routine and what systems? And if you need support and you'd like to know more about how stories can help you achieve these four things, then subscribe to our newsletter by going to www.lignantstories.com/contact. Can't wait to get to know you better. See you very soon.